Well, running a few errands, left the meeting, and getting into a warm car, and then I just want to have a chat, and another evening episode of Brother Mark, Turner Syndrome, Butterflies and Life. Oops. So, I actually all of a sudden a word kind of popped in my head, and I think I probably forgot to mention it on the other video, but there used to be a program called the Daily Word, put out by another church, and it said today's word is. So, with all due respect, I really want to deal with the fact that where did all this traffic come from at this afternoon? Oh well, but I really want to deal with the word accountability, and I want to explain what it isn't. I want to kind of discuss the terror that might come up from the topic of that word, and then explain what it is. I was sitting in an AA meeting, as I'm often want to do, and then I just somehow my higher power just kind of tapped me on the shoulders. Look up the word accountability. Of course, anybody in our faith tradition knows that's a pretty important word. The word may not be in the Bible, but certainly the principle is. The word accountability, in just its dictionary definition, means to accept responsibility. Oops. And I need to be accountable to how I shift. Otherwise, Nissan Motor Company is going to kind of give me some grief about the warranty. There's an example of being accountable. I'm being responsible. So no, that was completely unplanned. Here's what it is. And sometimes when somebody hears the word accountability, there's kind of that fear and dread that I'm going to be dragged in before the authorities or the board of elders or your boss. look at the word accountability. It does kind of, and at first it does kind of give that vision of having a dress down, being tacked down, being attacked, being dressed down, taken apart limb by limb. Sadly, in the church that the few of us were in, we actually had a pastor like that, and that's not it. The really extreme one is, it's almost comedic, but there's kind of an element of truth to that. Is the dark room with the single light, and the Gestapo saying, "We've got ways of making you talk." No. Where were you on the night of March 24th? Nah, that's not it either. Accountability is to accept responsibility, and built in with that word accountability, to accept responsibility, to make sure that we're in proper decorum, proper behavior, that we're acting responsibly. Sometimes it does require some firmness. Sometimes if you look at my reviews on church discipline, but with accountability in a healthy organization, whether it be a church, whether it be part of the Turner Syndrome community, just generally, how can we help? I mean, I could see, I've observed these things, and I'm concerned. This is, and the concerns that I have, not only is affecting me, but it's affecting the church in one case, or it's affecting the Turner syndrome community. So, I think you are. I don't think you were aware of it, but I think some of the things you're doing are creating harm. Were you aware of it? And we're here to help. And I think that's one of the important thing. And one thing and sometimes it helps to kind of look at what's really going on. But accountability is one acting properly, is one treating their fellow man or fellow butterfly correctly. Is there anger? Is there resentment? Are there grudges? Are there unresolved hurts? What can we do to help? What can we do so that you accept responsibility, and so that we can resolve these hurts? And sometimes that does, and from my own experience, that would include an action plan. I mean, I'll put myself in the hot seat. I don't mind. If my performance at work, and I work in a very challenging position, and there's a lot of, in terms of grading my work, there's a lot of complex parameters, and it's really demanding, and so there's a lot of different variables. And my supervisor will keep me accountable for coaching, making sure that I'm doing my job properly, that I'm taking care of my customers, that their situations would get resolved. Obviously, you can tell I'm working in a call center. So it's called coaching. I think that and having never gone, and this is kind of a new area of frontier for me, but obviously if somebody were acting irresponsibly, we want to bring it to them in love. Sometimes it requires some firmness, though, and yes, there are consequences. But at the same time, it's in a spirit that, if somebody brings an issue, we want to bring it in a spirit of helpfulness. Excuse me for a second. Well, for those who live in Texas, this isn't from Texas, this is from Columbus, Ohio, but if you can drive the LBJ, you can drive anything, so at least I'm prepared. Construction downtown Columbus, so what a challenge. But the purpose of accountability is that there's responsible performance, responsible relationships. And I would say in this situation, if we dovetail it with keeping the Turner Syndrome Society accountable and keeping the sister that made some bad decisions, to keep her accountable and to help her and to help the community act responsibly. And sometimes it can be setting through goals. It's like, okay, let's go ahead and work on this, and this, and let's go ahead, and we'll come back on the 31st and we'll see how we're doing. So accountability means to accept responsibility. If somebody, and to help somebody walk properly. That's all it is. And it's, again, it's in the spirit of how can we help? We've seen this, and maybe the way, and maybe somebody, and maybe other butterflies can say, hey, we've seen these behaviors, and we're a little concerned, and maybe there's some voices of moderation. I mean, in one case, one sister who was acting inappropriately was taken to task and said, hey, your facts aren't right. You gotta back off. You could really get yourself in trouble. And I don't think that other butterfly was reading that other sister's riot act. That other sister was trying to keep the other sister who was acting irresponsible accountable. I don't want to see you get in trouble. You're a good butterfly, but this could really blow up in your face, and I don't want to see that happen. So that's the essence of accountability. That's it in kind of a thumbnail. It's to help bring people to accept responsibility. It sometimes requires firmness, but at the same time, it also it has to be balanced with grace and mercy, and that's what accountability is. Ultimately, it's, hey, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting others. What can we do to help? And that's it in brief. So as always, take what you like, leave the rest. I hope that was helpful. Hit that like button. I would like to say it would mean the world to me, but I'm afraid that's still, even though she may not be on YouTube, I'm sorry, that's still an Amy Jo Talar trademark, and I don't want her to come after me for trademark infringement. So, oh well, good, clean, wholesome family fun. But in any case, I'll talk to you next time.